Hope you're having a good day so far. Maybe not. I don't think the village idiot Donald Trump is having a good day so far. This is just going to be a short live today. We're going to do a quick one today. I've got to actually head out and run some errands this morning before my daily briefing with Chorus today. So I've got to kind of do a quick one. We're going to cover a quick story, ridiculous story that broke a little bit earlier today about a Russian super yacht that made its way through the Strait of Hormuz yesterday. A sanctioned Russian super yacht that made its way through the Strait of Hormuz. Hey, Trademark Shark, and hey, Patty Ann, how are you guys? Actually, let me bring this over here. So if I can bring it over there, there we go. At least I think there we go. Do I have this there? Yes. Let me bring it over here, and we're good. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And let me just look over here to remind myself what else we're talking about. There's Lindsey Graham wants you, all of you, to pay for the village idiot Donald Trump's ballroom. And Iran in general, the Iran deal. So let's start with, before we get into the Russian ship going through the Strait of Hormuz. Let me see if I can do my screen share here, and we'll see if it works. Allow to share window, and that's what we want to do. And this is the window I want to share. So the village idiot posted this about 3 hours ago. Iran has just informed us that they are in a state of collapse. It's unbelievable. They're in a complete and total state of collapse. They're about to collapse. They want us to open the Hormuz Strait. I call it the Hormuz. Everybody says Strait of Hormuz. I said Hormuz Strait as soon as possible, as they try to figure out their leadership situation, which I believe they will be able to do. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Sociopath. So Crazy Pants, in what can only be perceived as his latest act of just embarrassing and profound desperation, posts that Iran has just informed him, right? Or us. Iran called us, it's like, hey, is this Donald Trump? I don't know. I can't do a good Iranian accent. This is Iran. We have that's too Russian. I have to channel like Iranian accent. I can't do it. We are in a state of collapse. Please, we are gonna open the strait right away because you want us to, and we're gonna figure out who our leader is. That's fantastic. I'm gonna. It's so fantastic. You're fantastic, but I've never seen anyone so fantastic. You're fantastic. You're fabulous. You're fabulous. You're not fake news. You're fab. I won the 2020 election, by the way. It was fantastic. So, that's what he's posting this morning. That Iran is in a state of collapse, and they went and called Donald to let him know that they're in a state of collapse, right? But what's happening, like, in the real world in a state of collapse? Let me go to Al Jazeera. In the real world, right? In the world of real things, Iran army says it's still a war situation despite the ceasefire. An Iranian army spokesperson says Iran is still in, quote, a war situation as the Strait of Hormuz remains a major sticking point in negotiations. As Gulf leaders meet in Saudi Arabia, Qatar says the critical waterway should not be used as a pressure card and warns against the possibility of a frozen conflict, right? I don't read anything here in Al Jazeera. And Al Jazeera seems to have its finger on the pulse of what's happening in the Iran war better than anyone else. I don't seem to read here. I don't see any. We'll look through all the headlines, but I don't see any reporting here at Al Jazeera suggesting that Iran has called the idiot and told the idiot that it is in a state of collapse and that it's going to open the Strait of Hormuz, immediately. What I see is that an Iranian army spokesperson saying that Iran is still, quote, in a war situation, end quote, as the Strait of Hormuz remains a major sticking point and as Gulf leaders meet in Saudi Arabia. Qatar says critical waterways should not be used as a pressure card and warns against the possibility of a frozen conflict. And that's exactly where we are, right? We're in a frozen conflict. And the Qataris know, even though they made the terrible mistake of kissing up to the village idiot Donald Trump, a year and a half ago by bribing him with a $400 million reject plane that they didn't want, that it's going to cost us billions of dollars to refit so we can make it into an Air Force One, even though we have 2 new Air Force Ones. Boeing is building 2 new Air Force One planes as we speak that we're paying for as federal tax dollars. The idiot wants to get this plane, and then he wants to just fucking keep it, after he leaves office. So, apparently the Qataris realize now the stupidity. I wouldn't say stupidity, but the folly of that particular bribe. It really isn't. This is what it's gotten them. Congratulations, guys! Isn't this fantastic? Yeah, so fantastic. But they've gotten a frozen conflict, and really, to me, what a frozen conflict means. Let me just pull myself back up here in the main shot. Let me just stop sharing. To me, what a frozen conflict means, in normal circumstances, it would just be 2 sides who can't come to an agreement and they just agree to disagree for an indefinite period of time, and the conflict never really ends. And sometimes you see this in the world where, life eventually goes on and, everything becomes kind of normal in an abnormal situation. Things like, military, usually when you see these kinds of things, over time you get a minimal military presence on both sides wherever the conflict is, and it just goes on for years. They just stay mad at each other. And then at some point it can fester and blow up again. India and Pakistan are a great example in the region of Kashmir, right? It's just an ongoing conflict. It's a frozen conflict that every so often fires up again and starts almost starts a hot war again between the Indians and the Pakistanis, and then sometimes it just sits there and it's frozen, never to be resolved until eventually it is, right? That's a frozen conflict. This is not that. Because the difference is in India and Pakistan, when you have the frozen conflict that they have there, irrespective of which side you're rooting for, or if you happen to live in either of those countries, which side you happen to be on, you're not dealing with any imbeciles, right? There's no imbecile in the room, right? There's just 2 countries that disagree, that may despise each other. You may have leadership that despises each other, but you have seasoned, experienced people in that region, sorry about that, guys, in those particular governments that, that know what they're doing. And even when the conflict is frozen, it's frozen for a reason. There's a strategic initiative that, hey, Jules, how are you? There's a strategic initiative that both sides are engaged in, right? That kind of makes sense in a situation that doesn't make any sense. But that's not what we have here. We have an idiot being manipulated by the Iranians because the Iranians are clearly holding out and managing these negotiations so they can come out of them stronger than they were when they went into them. So they can come out of this war stronger and in a better position than they were in before they got involved. They got pulled into it. The Iranians, rightfully for the Iranians, want to come out of this better. And they will. And they are. And that's just reality. And so the idiot making a proclamation, a laughable proclamation today on Truth Social, that Iran called him right? And they reached out to him, and they're facing a collapse. You know, is just a is just reeks of such pathetic desperation. It's so humiliating. It's so incredibly humiliating to be an American right now. We are the laughing stock of the world. We are. Trump was always projecting when he talked about Obama and Biden making us the laughing stock of the world. He was always projecting. When it was Obama, it was because he knew he was the laughing stock of the business world at the time, and he was projecting that onto Barack Obama. When when Biden became president, he knew he was the laughing stock of the world during a very serious time during the COVID pandemic when he fucked that up because he doesn't know what he's doing. And he was certainly projecting, if he were to ever be president again, God forbid, which this country was dumb enough to make him president again, he was certainly projecting that he would be the laughing stock of the world in a second term. And this is where we are. And so, I mean, that proclamation that I read to you, that Truth Social post. Let me read it one more time because it's so ridiculous. It's deserving. It's worth us mocking it multiple times. Iran has just informed us that they are, quote, in a state of collapse. They want us to, quote, open the Strait of Hormuz, end quote, as soon as possible as they try to figure out their leadership situation, which I believe they will be able to do. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Because we're so embarrassed, because I'm so embarrassed to be an American right now. I am proud of our country when you exclude Donald Trump in it and the idiots surrounding him in it. I am thankful to live in America. It's an awesome country. There is no such thing anymore as American exceptionalism. There is no such thing anymore as American exceptionalism. American exceptionalism was dissipating and disappearing forever because long before Donald Trump came around, because there are a lot of great countries. It's just not the world is global now, and thinking you're the shit, only makes you weak. At this point, thinking you're better than everybody else only makes you incredibly weak at this point on the world stage. The world can't function without collaboration in some capacity of other countries. So we were already devolving. We were devolving in terms of American exceptionalism since the Mitt Romney era, when he went up against Barack Obama for President Obama's second term, and Romney lost. And Romney tried to run on the idea of American exceptionalism. And it was a joke then like it is now. And Romney got clobbered in that election. And that was because nobody buys into this bullshit. America is an incredible country. And it's an amazing, there's nowhere else I'd want to live. But we're not the most exceptional country, nor should we be, right? There are clearly nations that for freedom-loving people are probably better, are certainly better, are absolutely better. I make an argument that if you're not an oligarch or the dictator, it's a hell of a lot better to live in America than it is in Russia, right? It's a hell of a lot better to live in America than it is in North Korea. There are many, many countries where it's a hell of a lot better to live here, unless you're part of the elite, right? But we're not the greatest country because we're just better people than anyone else simply because we were born here. There's plenty of shits in America, right? Look at the President of the United States. There's plenty of goons and goofballs and creeps. There's plenty of incompetent people. There's plenty of morons, dingbats. Even the best of us are failures frequently. We're all good and bad and successful and unsuccessful, right? So this idea of American exceptionalism has been, I'm sorry, guys. This idea of American exceptionalism has been laughable for a long time. And now it's just with the least exceptional buffoon that we could ever possibly have in the White House right now, it's it's hysterical to tag us as exceptional, right? And with this idiot, posting things like Iran has just informed us that they are in a state of collapse. They want us to open the strait. They want us to open the Hormuz Strait as soon as possible as they try to figure out their leadership situation. To suggest we're exceptional is beyond laughable, beyond embarrassing, beyond humiliating. We're pathetic. We're pathetic. We're pathetic as a nation. We're going to rise above it. We're going to exceed this because we can. We're going to remove Donald Trump from office in he's done in 2028, but we're going to disallow him from defying the Constitution if he so opts to do it. And we are going to elect a Democrat who is a sane fucking person. Democrats are going to absolutely humiliate Republicans in the midterm elections, not because Democrats are so great, just because Donald Trump is so bad and Republicans around them are so bad. And we're going to pull ourselves out of this as long as it takes. And America will be a place not to be embarrassed by again. We'll have a nation to be proud of again. And I look forward to that, but we're not there. And if you want to make the argument that I'm wrong, and you're certainly welcome to do that, I would counter that not just with Donald Trump's stupid fucking ridiculous Truth Social post. That also, by the way, that Truth Social post may be the off-ramp that he's taking. It's not impossible that this idiot, I've often said that the way he's probably going to end this, if he decides to get out of it, and we don't wind up in a worst-case scenario, and God knows what that would be. But if the idiot decides to get out of this, he'll declare victory when there's no victory. We had a fantastic victory. It was incredible. We destroyed them. We absolutely destroyed them. We took everything. They surrendered. This Truth Social post could be the beginning of that, where he just makes it up and he just lies. This Truth Social post where the idiot says Iran has just informed us that they are in a state of collapse. They want us to open the Hormuz Strait as soon as possible as they will try to figure out their leadership situation, which I believe they will do. This idiot's plan now, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not predicting this will happen because I don't know. But it certainly could be the lunatic's setup for saying, he's making up that they're in a state of collapse. He's making up that they called him. So he may come on to address the nation or have a press conference or just a Truth Social post in the next 3 hours. I have accepted Iran's complete and total surrender. They have agreed to open the Strait of Hormuz. I am immediately calling the fleet, the American fleet. I call it a fleet. It's lots of guys on a boat. They're tough guys, the toughest guys. I am immediately calling them back to the United States, to our local ports. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to treat them like heroes. We'll have a parade. There's going to be lots of parades. I'll be in it. Thank you very much. Only a president could have done such a thing like this, and this incredible victory. The straits are opened. We're going to leave it to the Europeans to clean it up because they created the problem, but we won. We destroyed everything, and I won the 2020 election. It was fantastic. Sleepy Joe Biden, he signed everything with the auto pen in my beautiful ballroom. It's going to be fantastic. There's going to be protection under the ground. We got guys, amazing guys. I'm telling you, and I'm doing it under budget. It's going to cost $17.67, and you thought it was going to be $400 trillion, and that's kind of what's going to happen. Maybe. Watch. Let's see if this Truth Social post is the opening, for the village idiot to just declare a complete, laughable, total victory and to bring the troops home. I'm hoping that's the case. But in terms of irrespective whether that's the case, and I'm so sorry, guys, I got to wrap the live in about 5 minutes. I just want to, the other, humiliating thing to the United States of America that happened yesterday is a Russian superyacht that was owned by a Russian oligarch who is close to Vladimir Putin, a guy worth $37 billion. He has a $500 million superyacht, a $500 million. Come on. I'm so sorry, guys. A $500 million superyacht this idiot has, right? not this, the oligarch has. So that super yacht peacefully and calmly sailed through the Strait of Hormuz yesterday, right? The reason this is so humiliating, intentionally humiliating, all right, let me just put on my do not disturb. Um, okay. And I'm sorry, guys, I should have done this earlier. The reason this is so humiliating for the United States of America is that I'm sorry, the phone just threw me off. The reason that this is so humiliating for the United States of America is that we are blockading Russian ports, right? So the Iranians have closed the Strait of Hormuz. Donald Trump, the village idiot, pretending like they didn't do it after they had done it for weeks and weeks and weeks, said that he's closing the Strait of Hormuz, right? You're not going to do it. I'm doing it, even though you're already doing it. It turned out he didn't know what the fuck he was talking about, and he clearly didn't understand what the military was telling him. They were like, we're not closing the Strait of Hormuz, you dumb fuck. They're already doing that. What we're going to do is restrict access from the Strait of Hormuz to Iranian ports. We're not going to let any ships leave Iranian ports or come to Iranian ports, so they can't export or import anything. And but he didn't get that in the beginning. He sort of got that eventually, but he didn't. In the very beginning, he didn't seem to understand that because he said, we're the ones closing the Strait of Hormuz. So the idiot kept saying that. So now we're in a situation. I'm so sorry. My mom's just leaving me. I'm looking at the message. But the phone was ringing. My mom's leaving me a message about turkey, spaghetti and meatballs and turkey meatballs. That's what I'm. If you're wondering what I'm distracted by, I'm looking at my mom's. She's literally leaving a message. That's why she's been calling incessantly for the last 6 minutes, and I can see the message coming up on my screen here that she has turkey meat and she needs turkey sausage. Give her a call. She's going to go with me to the store. This is what she's calling me incessantly for. So that's why. And I'm distracted. I'm talking about the war, and I got to deal. I'm more hyper focused on turkey sausage and spaghetti and meatballs. So go figure, right? These are the things. So anyway, so this ship, right? The U.S. Navy did not. Oh my God! And why is my do not disturb not working? Stop! I have do not disturb on the phone. Enough. Stop calling me with the turkey meatloaf. And do not disturb. Stop working. Start working. Do your job. So anyway, if I could get through this story, maybe I could go get the turkey sausage. Anyway, I digress. So this ship is going through the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. Navy did not stop it. They must have been. They certainly could have. Probably didn't know as it was going through the Strait of Hormuz whether or not it was going to Iran. Irrespective, it was in there. It was the ship was owned by a Russian oligarch who is sanctioned by the United States of America, right? So the Navy did nothing to interfere with this ship, to stop this ship. They just let it go on its way. Meanwhile, they would be stopping any ship whatsoever that might have the potential to go to or from an Iranian port. So, and it's not the Navy's fault, right? They must have been ordered by someone to not interfere with the navigation of this particular ship. That had to come from the village idiot or one of the sycophants, maybe from Drunken Pete Hegseth, from the Secretary of Defense. Maybe the village idiot said to Drunken Pete Hegseth, it's a Russian ship, we're going to let it go. Okay, Mr. President, okay. We're going to do it, and we're the war fighters, Mr. President, and the war fighters are going to let it go. And if anybody else tries to get through, the American military, the patriots, the war fighters that they are, we're going to stop them in their tracks. We're going to kill them and show no quarter. We're going to show no mercy, Mr. President. But this Russian oligarch ship, we're going to let it go through. And they did. And so that's embarrassing enough. It's humiliating. Putin clearly intended, and the Iranians clearly intended for this ship to move through, knowing the U.S. Navy wouldn't touch it because move through the Strait of Hormuz, knowing the U.S. Navy wouldn't touch it because the village idiot wouldn't allow them to touch it. And it's almost a reminder from Putin that I'm the boss here, Donald. I run the show, okay? That's the way it is. You stay in your lane, Donald, you whiny little biatch. Don't you move. Don't do anything. I'm going to put on this theatrical performance with this $500 million super yacht that is owned by one of the oligarchs who is loyal to me, and you're going to do nothing, and you're going to watch it, and then you're going to deal with the consequences and the repercussions of that, Donald. Adding to that we have sanctions on that ship, and you would think that the U.S. is now in the piracy business when we have sanctioned ships, oil tankers that were in the Caribbean Sea, in the Pacific, on the on the Pacific side as well, in South America, and Central America, and on the other side, in the Atlantic side, in the Caribbean Sea, when we were being tough guys with Venezuela because Venezuela was not Iran, and there were ships that were these sanctioned ships that were that were threatening to bring oil to Cuba or something else. The Coast Guard, the Navy intercepted and stole those ships. Right? We just took those ships. Arr, matey. We were pirates on the high seas, taking our booty, right? Taking it for ourselves, and we're gonna take it all, right? We were that. So we are pirates, right? We are, we are swashbucklers on the high seas, right? So why didn't we take that sanctioned Russian ship? We have all of our military assets there, or at least plenty of them. The Navy is there, our destroyers, our aircraft carriers. We have our F-35, whatever, right? Tomahawk missiles. It's all there. We have Marines that can board a ship like that. We could have got a fucking $500 million yacht from a Russian oligarch. I mean, I think that's a better get than a rusty old ass fucking oil tanker in the Caribbean Sea that was sanctioned, right? That's carrying shit oil from Venezuela that you can't sell anyway. I mean, come on. The yacht's got a helipad, right? A swimming pool. Donald would have loved that. He took a piece of shit broken down Qatari jet, for fuck's sake. Don't you think he want a fucking yacht? I got a fantastic yacht. It's so beautiful. I deserve it for the American people. The president should have it. I'm going to keep it afterwards, but it's my yacht. But it's for the presidents. Lindsey Graham said we should pay for it with my money or their money or your money. But I got my new yacht. I'm so excited. But it's not mine. It's for American people. It's fantastic. He would love that. Donald would love that yacht. Take the cabinet for cruises. Drunken Pete Hegseth. I mean, fucking Pete Hegseth is taking a Kid fucking Rock on Apache helicopters yesterday, right? Did you hear about this? On a joyride, right? So Donald could take them on his new yacht if they would have confiscated it, right? Because we do engage in piracy now, apparently, the United States of America, but that yacht was completely safe. Flowed through the Strait of Hormuz with both fingers up to the U.S. military. You'd better fuck off, boys. Blow us up. You'll not be blowing anything. Go fuck yourselves. I wonder if the oligarch had the Russian crew, come out, pull their pants down, and moon the U.S. military as they were going by. We will give big Russian fart to Donald Trump. I mean, it's so laughably ridiculous that you can't even. Anyway, my friends, let me pull you over. Let me take a quick look at if there's any comments in the chat, and then I've got to go and take my mom to the supermarket and get the friggin' turkey sausage and turkey ground meat and whatever whatever else they need. Hey, trademark shark, delay and threaten and then taco. And that is exactly where we're going. I just wish he'd fucking taco soon because the price of gas here in New Jersey is $4.07 a gallon, which means, and we've got cheap gas. So if it's 407 here, it means that it's like wherever you live, I'm sure it's a hell of a lot more. He's also saying that to try to regulate the market. Absolutely, try to. It's the most egregious form of insider trading I think we've ever seen. Good morning, Catherine. Hey, Irish Aggie. It looks like there may be a couple more comments up above, but unfortunately, guys, I can't see them. I don't know why. Of the plethora of technical problems I have with my streaming software. Oh, there we go. I sometimes have trouble seeing it, but actually, I think it's my mouse. When I use the trackball, it works, or this wheel here. But when I try to just kind of go up and down with there, it doesn't work. All right. Lesson learned. Oh, now it's not working anymore. I need a mouse that's better for live streaming. I'm going to look up a live streaming mouse, my friends. Anyway, guys, that's it for the live today. I promised I would keep it short and sweet. So it's probably a good idea. 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time, one live at a time. Thank you all for being here. I so appreciate you guys. I'll have this live posted in a bit. If you've missed it today, watch for me on all socials today as well. And working on a YouTube piece for today as well. And, we'll go from there. All right, guys, hang on. Let me bring you guys back here. YouTube, I'm sorry I kind of halfway ignored you guys today. My apologies. I just didn't have time to bring the YouTube feed in. But I'm going to wrap you guys now. And when we go to YouTube tomorrow, I will have the chat up. So you guys be well.